Hello, I'm Katie McManus, business strategist and money mindset coach. Welcome to my live. I'm going live to the Facebooks, to LinkedIn, to YouTube, to Twitter, and to Instagram. And I'm back to balancing my phone on my laptop because I'm not sold on the setup yet. I need to figure out a better way to do this. Anyway, welcome to those of you who are joining Instagram. I guess they're telling people that I'm here. Anyway, I wanted to share today, and hi, Hogna, great to see you. Welcome, my friend from Norway. Anyway, it's funny whenever I have like actual friends that like spend time with and they come through, I'm like, oh my God, you're here. And I get a little nervous. It's so funny. And actually it's perfect. It's so perfect that that happened. And like, because this is the topic today. I want to talk about how scary it is. I don't know, Heisan. It's Norwegian for something. I don't know. I hope I pronounced it correctly. I wanted to talk about how scary it is when you first start a business and you have to go and post online. And I wanted to share about my own experience here because I feel like this is super relatable to anyone who is having to show up on social media to promote their things. So when I first started my business, I was convinced that I would do it like the old fashioned way. I was going to network. I was going to go to happy hours. I was going to go, all over and talk to everyone, and even joined, hi, David, welcome. Even joined this, oh my God, this app is called Shaper, SHAPR. I don't know if anyone remembers this or if it's still a thing. It's kind of like Tinder for business. So basically you swipe left and right, I think, on people who might have the same, business interests as you. Hi, the gazelle. And hi, Aiden. Yeah, we did kind of date in San Francisco, didn't we? But anyway, it's like Tinder, but for business. So like you would swipe left and right on people who, who had the same business interests as you, or who might be good investors, who could be potential clients, and so on and so forth. I think I probably spent a good 200 hours on 15-minute coffee chats with different individuals from that app, trying to spread the word about what it is that I was up to. Now, let me tell you the limitations of that, because most of the time, the people I ended up on the phone with weren't my ideal client. And also like they were just out trying to sell something, right? So it wasn't a great use of my time. A bunch of other stuff that I wasted my energy on trying to game the system of how to start a business. I can't think of a better way to describe it. Was, I would collaborate with friends who were in the coaching industry, and we would create different like different programs together. And we would, like plot out how we were going to take over the world. I remember I rented an office. I got furniture. I decorated the office. I got different books. I read the books. I bought online courses about how to start a business. And then I did the courses, but didn't actually start the business. And all of this was going on while in the back of my head, I knew you have to start posting on social media. People can't hire you if they don't know that you exist. Hi, Robert. Welcome. People can't hire you unless they know that you exist. And one of the easiest ways to let people know that you exist, hi, Grow with Arif, welcome, is to post on social media. It's free. It's all organic. And it's also one of the scariest things that we potentially do when we're starting a business. And it's scary because of the people that we're connected to on social media, right? I can't be the only one here who is connected to people that I went to elementary school and middle school and high school and college, people who maybe were kind of a bully to me at some point, or maybe people who just, I don't know, we weren't really friends, but I, for some reason, care about their opinion. Different family members whose opinion we really care about. It can be really hard to post and let them see what we're up to. Former colleagues, former bosses, especially if you're breaking out on your own and they had ever like discouraged you from doing so. When you post on social media, you do a couple things. You tell everyone, hey, I'm starting this business. And then you kind of assume that they're going to be able to tell if it's going well or not. They're going to be able to see based on what you're posting about, whether you're crashing and burning, whether you're being successful. And like, here's the most basic truth about starting a business is that it has a very high chance of crashing and burning. There is a massive opportunity for failure. And in fact, like if you're not failing when you start a business in a million different ways, you're not working hard enough. I am very open about my journey. When I started coaching, I started off as a dating coach for men. Okay. Because I was dating in San Francisco. It was miserable, except for Hogna, who, lived in Norway. So, yeah, like it was just miserable. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to fix the men here. I'm going to go and I'm going to coach them on how to be better at dating. And it's going to be amazing. And I did all this crazy busy work. It was in my description of this post, I wrote that, there's like if you want to run a mile, there's the straightforward way of running the mile, right? But the way a lot of people do it when they start their business is like they decide to do like these crazy loop-de-loops around like different neighborhoods along the way, like not even on paved roads. They're just like going through the woods and through bushes, and they're tripping and falling and skinning their knees and twisting their ankles and like whacking their head against branches because there's, trees in the way. And it's the worst way to start a business. It's trying to game the system so that you don't have to post online, so you don't have to show everyone that you know and their mother that you're doing this scary thing and that it might not work out, right? So I started off as a dating coach in San Francisco. I networked my ass off. And I did get clients out of it. It took so much more work than it would have if I had just posted online. But the funny thing is that I actually ended up with 8 female clients and 1 dude. So the universe was not interested in me coaching men. It was very straightforward. The universe was all about me coaching women. And it was funny because I would be at like a happy hour or a party or a networking event, and I'd be in one of those little semicircles of people who are getting to know each other. And, everyone would go around saying, this is who I am and this is what I do. And you get to my turn, people are like, well, what are you up to? And I said, well, I'm a dating coach for men. And I'm not even exaggerating here. The women in the group in unison would just go hands on hips and look at me just annoyed. And they would say something like, well, what about me? What about me? I want a dating coach. And I was really confused by this. I was like, okay, well, fine. I'll coach you too. That's okay. So we'd exchange information and we'd hop on a call and they'd sign up. And the funny thing that happened is that most of those clients, like all but one of the women that I signed on for dating coaching, only one of them stuck with that topic. Every other woman I coached and the man that I coached, everyone wanted or needed leadership development and executive training. Like they needed to learn how they could own their power at work. Because what was happening that was causing dating problems for them is that they didn't know how to set boundaries. They didn't know how to say no to their boss. They didn't know how to manage up. They didn't know how to manage down or sideways or any which ways. Okay. There was so much going on, and it was just stuff that they'd never been taught. And I loved that. It was so powerful to be able to hear someone say that they negotiated a higher raise and they were working, or a higher salary, and that they were working less and that they were actually able to go on dates. Ipso facto, it did have the desired result. And then tripped and fell into what I do now, because all my coaching friends turned around. They're like, wait a minute, how did you get clients so fast? How did you do that? So just sharing this so you can see failure is baked in. Okay. I failed numerous times as I was trying to get my business up and running. Okay. I failed with my first niche and my second niche and my third niche. Well, I didn't really fail with the third niche, but I realized as I transitioned to teaching people how to start their business that I liked that so much more. Right. Now, it took me a long time to grow the ovaries to actually start posting online. And really, it wasn't until I was doing leadership development and executive coaching that I actually started posting online. And even the stuff I posted was like very tentative. It was just, I was, lightly dipping my toe in the water. I was giving people a little insight as to what I was up to, but I didn't want them to think that I thought so much of myself, that I was putting myself out there as like this, executive coach who you know, saw herself as better than everyone else. There was like this weird story I had. And there was also this massive fear that if I kept posting and trying to get clients, that people would watch that and be like, she's crashing and burning. Nope, not going well for her. That's so sad. She had so much potential. And I mean, we all know people from our past who, like, if they were to say that stuff to us, it would be soul crushing, even people we don't care about. So really, the wake up call that I got was a mentor of mine kind of gave me a verbal slap in the face. And he told me that you can't be a secret and a success at the same time. Right. And at the time, I desperately needed to hear this. I desperately needed to hear that, like, there was no other way except for me to out myself on social media, for me to start posting and just giving myself credit that there would be something that I'd say that would resonate with someone. Right. And here's the main fear that I hear from so many of my clients is like, well, what do I have to say that will be interesting to anyone? Right. Because no offense to my clients, but they're just like me. We all lead fairly boring lives. It's not like we're all going and climbing Mount Kilimanjaro every day. Well, I have one client who actually does that. He's a different story. But anyway, we all live normal lives. We let our dogs out in the morning. We go to work. We, cook dinner. We watch TV in the evenings. What's noteworthy or important about that? What kind of content can be made out of that? And the thing that really helped me realize what it was that I could share is that those benign moments that we have throughout our life, the small moments, the things that are every day are the things that are most relatable to our ideal clients. Right? Because they're not out there trying to find the most exciting, sexy, flashy person to work with. No, they're looking for someone who actually feels like a friend that they can connect with, that they can have a conversation with. And the more perfect and exotic and exciting we make ourselves, the more inaccessible we actually make ourselves. David Freiman, who's watching, or he was watching, he commented earlier, he has this post that was, it's now his second highest engaged post on LinkedIn. But I'll never forget it because it was so relatable. It was just a simple post about how he put his coffee on the roof of his car while he was getting his daughter in the back seat. And, early morning, had to drop her off at school and then get to work, gets in the car. We all know where this is going. Starts backing up and he hears that plop. That plop, that just means there's no caffeine this morning for you. So he gets out, because I think it was a reusable mug or something. And miracle of miracles, it landed right side up. It had barely spilled. He still got his coffee. Oh no. The danger of balancing your phone against your computer. Anyway, and it was just such a relatable post because we've all had that moment where we've lost our coffee and we would all give anything for that little miracle to happen. Right. The other thing that we have to remember is that our clients, they're in their own problems. They're in their own frustrations. They're in their own fears. They're also in their own daydreams. When we post to social media, we actually don't have to really post about ourselves at all. What we can post about is the stuff that points out, hey, I see you. I see what you're struggling with. And just so you know, a lot of people in your position struggle with the exact same thing. And, if you want help with that, that's exactly what I do. I just want to show behind the curtain what I am doing here. I'm sharing about my own struggle This is a version of that, right? Because anyone who works with me, I tend to work with people who are having this exact struggle because they're not really sure how they can show up on social media to get clients, right? They have all these very similar fears, maybe not the exact same, but they can hear this kind of stuff and be like, well, it's not that, but it's kind of this other thing. David, thanks for the post, love. Of course, it was a great post. You're a great writer. But anyway, back to the point, like one of the things that is going to be most impactful in your business is learning how to create content, learning how to put yourself out there, how to put yourself in people's proximity, right? Virtually or in person, right? Virtually is so powerful because like literally I'm here. If you have a cell phone or you're on your computer and you're connected to me on any of the social media apps, you got a notification saying that I was going live, right? Even if you didn't watch this live, you still would have had that like tiny second where, oh, Katie McManus exists. She exists and she's going live right now. You might have actually forgotten who I am. And you might have just had that moment of like, who is this lady who's going live? Why am I connected? Why am I getting this notification? Right. And it just helps jog your memory just a little bit. Right. I mean, I could honestly come on here and just do show and tell with my dog, which I'm sure a lot of you would really enjoy. I would enjoy that. She's just not very cooperative when it comes to stuff like that. But we have to remind people that we exist, right? Because no one can give you their money to hire you for your product, your program, or your service unless they know that you exist first. Okay. Just doesn't work if they don't know that you exist. Are you just going out willy-nilly, just like holding out money for some person that you don't know exists to come and grab and hope that they can solve your problems? No, that's not how business is done, right? For any of us to grow our businesses, we have to put ourselves out there. We have to be willing to fail in front of the mean girls from high school. We have to be willing to show up as the person who's struggling to get their business off the ground in front of their distant family members. Because the only way we're going to get the clients out there is if we make sure that they know that we're here. And also that we make sure that they know that we focus on the problems that they have and we help our clients get the outcomes that they want, right? That's really the only way you can grow a business in a time and energy economically safe way, right? I also want to name that when you're starting a social media strategy, it can feel really tempting to say, cool, I'm going to post like 7 times a day. I'm going to be in the DMs. I'm going to be doing this, doing that, all the things. Slow down. Slow down. You do not need to do that. You do not need to post every day. Okay. You can post 5 times a week. More, it depends on the platform. You can post a little bit more, you can post a little bit less, and you can still find your ideal clients. They're still there. You do not have to keep up with people like Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay. You don't even have to keep up with people like me who go live and post, right? By the way, I want to out myself. Now I'm at the point where, some of the posts that I do, my social media manager handles. We take stuff that I've written before, repackage it, post it, and then we reuse it. We do a lot of recycling in my business, right? My podcast producer, he takes stuff that I wrote or said or filmed when I was producing my podcast, when I was recording, and he takes it and turns it into a post, right? I greenlight it. It's all my words, but I'm not the only person doing this. Right. So it's so tempting when you're starting to compare yourself to people who are, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 years ahead of you. And also it is so unkind of you to do that to yourself, right? Because you don't know how much support someone is able to afford once they're at that level. Okay. So if you have had any fears around posting, if you are nervous what people are going to say or think when they see you showing up on social media, this is your sign from the universe to just get over it. Okay. The funny thing about facing fears is that there's really no way to deal with a fear without just facing it and doing it, because your brain is basically telling you that this thing is so scary that if you do it, you're going to die. If you do this, you are going to die. That's what your brain is thinking. That's the signal it's sending to your entire body. And the only way to get through that is to do it and show your brain and your body, wow, we didn't die. We didn't die. We're fine. Okay, cool. Let's try it one more time. Maybe we'll die then. And you have to do it a few dozen times. And at the end, you're going to realize, oh, this isn't deadly, right? The bad news here is that there is always a new fear that pops up that's like next level, that new level, new devil kind of saying. Welcome to being a business owner. There's always something to be afraid of. But anyway, this is your sign. Go and post. Go share. Go dare to think that you have something that is interesting enough for other people to read. Okay. Go claim that you help people, because it's the only way you're going to get the opportunity to help people. All right. With that, I will leave you to the rest of your evening. I want to say hello and thank you for joining us, Caesar. Odendel, I think that's how I'm pronouncing your name. And that's just your username, so it might not be your name. Hogna, Arif, Aiden, who else? And from the computer, Sazid, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. David, Robert Marshall, thank you all for joining. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope to be going live again with you tomorrow. If there are any topics you want me to go live on, I love crowdsourcing ideas, so just shoot me a DM. Otherwise, I hope you have an amazing night, and I cannot wait to see what you post on social media soon. Bye.